Another broken plate, another called off date. We never seem to get it right. Another heart.
All I can hear is the chaos. Like all I can hear is the doubt or the what ifs or the negative or the right, all the patterns that keep driving me to the past. And so I don't even know how to hear this voice. So I get the concept, but I'm not really sure how to tap in. I don't know what that voice sounds like. I've been so far even removed from it that I can very much pinpoint and spotlight the voice in my head, but I don't know what the voice within me sounds like. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how do we actually access the quiet place? How do we actually access that voice of intuition, right? That gut, the nudge, right? Because what I also suggested is that oftentimes it's quiet and it will not compete with the other loud noises, right? And for most of us, again, how many would say that this is loud? Well, what if this and what if that? And what it is so loud. Okay, so I'm gonna actually walk you through some mechanics on how this has worked. We're gonna talk about the power of this quiet place. It's almost like a session on meditation. I know. I actually tell you the titles of what we're talking about because I know some of you won't come because you're like, I don't want to talk about meditation. I have a million other things that I need to be doing. But we're gonna talk about that today because there's huge benefit. And I think that it goes back to this again, the idea that it's not what we know that hurts us, it's what we think we know that just isn't so. Okay, so we're going to talk about meditation, and I think that the for most of us, or if you're like me, I guess I'll just share my story around meditation. Was meditation to me, again, this could be quiet time, this could be prayer time, this could just be sitting in silence, right? To me, felt like a waste of time. Like while you're meditating, while you're praying, I'm going to get stuff done. Okay, so great. I'm glad that that works for you, but that is not. It just never felt valuable to me. It never felt efficient, and honestly, it never felt effective. So this is something I want you to know didn't come naturally to me at all. And then the times that I did do it, it was frantic. You know how some people are like, oh, meditation is so great. And they're like, you just get quiet and with yourself. That was not my experience. For me, that's when the chatter got louder, the doubt got louder, the worry got louder. I wasn't doing it the right way. Like it was not a relaxing process for me. Anyone else ever been there with meditation? Mhm. Yeah, it almost created more anxiety. So I just didn't do it. I just avoided the whole idea. But as I started moving into this direction of heightening my consciousness, heightening my awareness, wanting to be better and more grounded in any given situation, I knew I was going to have to do something different. Okay. And so when we look at the definition of meditation, because that's always a great place to start, it's a practice that we're aware of that's just silencing the mind. Okay. But one of the things that it said that I thought was really interesting is it says to train attention and awareness. Everybody write that down. Meditation is training your attention and your awareness. This is huge. This whole month, what we've been talking about again is if growth is a mindset, we have to understand really what mindset is. And the three components that made it mindset was our thoughts, our attention, and our awareness. Meditation is training your attention and awareness. What does that suggest? It suggests that we're probably not good at it. Why? Because that's the word training. Right? Like we are not well versed in doing this generally when we start. So you have to understand that this is a training ground. Okay? So rule number 1 when it comes to meditation, the goal of this is not to be good at meditation. That is not the goal. That is again why I like tapped out after, I don't know, 2 times, because I was like, I'm not good at this. I'm never going to be good at this. Let's be honest, I don't want to be good at this. I'm good at other things, right? Because I was thinking that it was one more thing on my to-do list. It was one more thing that I had, that I had to be good at that I wasn't good at. The goal of meditation is not to be good at meditating. It's to be good at you. It is to be good at you. Right? So we have to realize that this is training ground. Okay. What we also have to understand about this is that if we consider that so many of us are wired to think all the thoughts that we've been thinking, right? It's like this whole idea that I have all of these thoughts, and so the more that I think them, the easier they are to think, right? Every thought. This is how my brain develops shortcuts, so I don't have to think about everything. But the more that I have a thought, the more that I think it, the more that I think it, the easier it is to continue to cycle it in my brain. What they call neuroplasticity is the ability to create new pathways in the brain. Okay. This is believe me, that's as far as I go. So really that was as most technical as I sound. So don't worry about it. But the idea here, I'm gonna say this again. The neuroplasticity, as studied by the experts in the field, is just creating a new like path in the brain. So we think differently, right? But most of us don't know how to do that. This is why we just keep thinking all the things that we've ever thought, and they must be true. That's not true. Where they're just true because I think them all the time. So what we're proposing with this idea of meditation is that it's actually a shortcut to help you start thinking differently, to train your attention and awareness so that the thoughts that you're thinking are actually what you want to be thinking. So meditation is the training ground to do this. Okay. So it's training your attention and awareness. And then here's also what it says: to achieve mental clarity and emotional stability. How many of you want mental clarity and emotional stability? How many of you know someone that needs mental clarity and emotional stability? Like, preach it. We're like, oh man, okay, so take notes for this person, right? Take ravenous notes for them. This is the point of meditation. This is why we meditate, because this part of our brain, you guys, the prefrontal cortex of our brain, when I meditate, goes offline. This is also the thing that is chattering all the time. So has anyone ever, at the end of the day, this part of your head just hurts? This is because you're in your thinking zone. I mean, I will honestly say sometimes, like, my brain hurts so bad, and it's always right here. Right? Because this is the prefrontal cortex of the brain where it's firing thoughts a million miles an hour. When I meditate, this part goes offline. It stops, which is why we're able to tap into mental clarity and emotional stability, right? Because remember, every thought creates an emotion, and my emotion creates my action. So by meditating, what I'm actually doing is I'm refreshing my thoughts, which is allowing me to be way more emotionally stable. This is why we're talking about meditating today, because it is how we are going to retrain our consciousness and our attention and our awareness. So when something happens that we weren't anticipating, so when our brother, cousin, sister's boyfriend looks at us the wrong way, so when we don't land the deal, so when the world doesn't respond the way we think it's going to respond, that we don't fly off the handle. Why? Because I've taken the time to train myself. I've quieted the world within me so it doesn't have to respond to the world around me.